Thank you, everyone, for coming to this session because it is a concluding session or the concluding session, and so I'm not sure about the burnout. I mean, are we the last ones standing and not burnt out, or we still made it here despite the burnout? So I'm doing this freestyle, so kudos to you interpreters for interpreting whatever you can understand. I didn't share any notes because I never keep to them, and I love myself for that. And so today we will be talking about burnout. What is burnout? I'll try to keep it simple, layman terms, something that psychologists usually do not do, but I have my background is in mathematics and it helps me somehow. So, burnout, what is it? It is basically exhaustion, different kinds, emotional, physical, psychological, whatever you call it, from some excessive stress, different kinds of stress. When we get really very tired. And as a result, we spend much more energy than we take in. So severe burnout. I can see how tense everyone is. So, but we'll get through this together. Breathing. When we are relaxed, we inhale and exhale just the regular way without actually paying too much attention to the process. We inhale, then we exhale, usually. So let's try this together now. Those of you who are here physically and those watching us online, you inhale once the regular way, and then you exhale 5 times the same amount, like this. And if you're not coughing, this means you didn't do it the right way. So this is burnout. You inhale once and then you exhale 5 times. And you have no strength to keep going, but you keep exhaling. And we do this every day. Another example of burnout would be 2 pipes. One is wide. This is the outflow. This is what we give to our family, friends, our children, our superiors at work, things like that. And that thin pipe is what we get back. Or imagine a sponge, like when it's dry, and try to squeeze something out of it. It has to take in something first before you can clean a surface with it, right? But in real life, we start squeezing out something from ourselves before we take anything in. Now, if you drive a car, even if you have some passenger experience, you know that yellow warning thing when it starts flashing. Normally you look for the nearest gas station and you fill the tank, right? You don't get mad at your car. You don't say just, hey, what's the problem? You just keep going. No, you don't do that. It would never cross your mind. If you own a coffee machine, if you are a happy, proud owner, when it says that you actually need to put in some beans, do you just tell it to make you coffee nonetheless? No, you don't. So keep this in mind and ask yourselves next time, how come am I treating myself this bad? Unlike my coffee machine. I mean, you use good beans, right? Because if you put in bad and old beans, all you will get is bad coffee. But when you cannot wake up, you just have a cup of coffee or an energy drink. In the States where I live and practice most of my time, it's become very popular to take Adderall. I mean, the children, the adults. It is a prescription drug for ADD. But these days, somehow, a med student or a lawyer just doesn't go without this drug, this narcotic, because otherwise they just cannot manage the stress, the workload, which is tremendous. So you need to listen to yourself, to your body, because it is also a machine in a way that never lies. I remember when we spoke about burnout at some point, and if I remember it, it means that it hasn't been like 100 years ago. So it's a fairly recent memory. And now I have parents who bring children to me like 10 or 9 years old, and they are burnt out because they take all those classes, extracurricular, like little soldiers. Their parents take them to all those hobby groups, things like that. Their parents tell them, "Hey, you need to grow up. You will grow up, and you will go to college." And this kid, they think, "What? I mean, if my life is like this now, do I really want to grow up? No, thank you. Hard pass. I'll become a janitor instead, or I don't know, join the army. Fresh air and all." This is what stress causes. Now, to the reasons of burnout, to the causes, and what this whole thing is about. I'm going to use this little time I've left in the slot to teach you something. I'm going to try to show you what drains our energy, how to manage that process, how to prevent that from happening, and where to recharge, how to recharge our battery. So step number 1, I call this time just for the purposes of this discussion. So there's present right here, right? This is the past and the future. Now, ladies and gentlemen, where do you think we all are most of the time? Well, it depends. But usually it is not the present. It could be either the past, with the doubts, like I shouldn't have said that, or I said something wrong, or someone treated me badly, hurt my feelings, or I could have done this differently. Or on the contrary, those could be some good memories, and that is nice. Then some of us tend to dwell in the future, dreaming, those sweet daydreams, and there's nothing bad about that. It could also be some fears about the future, like what if? So, the future. And this is how it works in psychology. Wherever you put your attention, what you're thinking about, your energy goes right there as well. From the present, it goes either back into the past or forward into the future. Granted, sometimes we need to visit the past to analyze things or to remember something nice. Or we dream about the future because we really need to make plans. We need to analyze some potential challenges. Try to predict them somehow. But you need to ask yourself every once in a while, where am I at this moment? My mind, my thoughts, because this is where your energy would be too. You take a bit of it from the present and put it elsewhere. And so it leaves the present, and this is the most dangerous thing for the future, because Sometimes, when we're talking about the future, about implementing something, about fulfilling the dream, this means that you're risking to have no resources for that at the time when you arrive.
So there are a lot of dreamers who have a lot of dreams. So if you have these dreams, very often your dreams are so bright. You have a lot of energy spent to dream those dreams like a pot. And it seems to me that a lot of energy has been drained from you. It seems like you have already been there, you have already implemented this goal. I have a lot of clients like that. They are excellent people, very exciting, very interesting, with a huge potential, but they did not realize it because all the energy is in the future, in their dreams. So the past, the present, and the future. If we save our energy, which we send to the past and to the future, and if we use it in the present, our reservoir, our jar will be full. So what's next? I would like to tell you about an interesting aspect, which is correlation between what I want, between our dreams, and what I need to do. Our body is our good friend who never lies. Probably this is the only part of us human beings that never lies. Body never lies. That is why we always need to inquire, how does it feel like? Feel the word want. What do you feel in your body when you pronounce the word want? And now say the word need. Let me highlight that both words want and need are good words. But when there is a disbalance between these words, if the word want is very small and the word need is huge, then you have a problem. Now let's dwell on the word I want. Our dreams, our intentions, the word want. Our wishes, our desires, are these purely our wishes and desires? Not always. Every wish, every desire, we would like to ask, is it I who wants that? And sometimes you will see that this is not what you want. This is what your parents want, this is what the society wants. They say that good citizens, happy people, successful people must want this. Or our friends do that and you feel the need to do the same. It can lead to dramatic consequences because we think that we believe that we want this, but the truth is that we didn't want that. We spend a lot of energy, we invest a lot of time and energy to go there, to reach the goal. And then I have those people as my clients, and they say, I don't know what's happening. I am successful. I have an excellent career. I'm a successful developer who has a lot of money. I have a beautiful wife, several children, a car, and a house. But I don't get any satisfaction. I don't feel happy. And when we start dwelling on the dreams, it turns out that many of the dreams of this person were not his or her. And it leads not only to burnout, but to depression, which is a more serious condition, of course. So how do we tell the difference between our dreams and somebody else's dreams? We will do something similar what you do in a store when you try on a jacket or a dress. So imagine that you see a jacket. You like it, it's trendy, and then you try it on and you understand that it doesn't suit you and it doesn't feel good, it's too tight, so the buttons are awful, and it doesn't matter that it is fashionable. Everyone might say, oh, you look excellent, but you don't like it. So the same is with your dreams. You visualize your dream. You imagine that what you dream, that we already have it. that this dream has been fulfilled. You imagine this and you watch the reaction of your body. If your body starts feeling good, if you feel this spur of energy, if you breathe deeply, if you feel happiness, if you feel joy, and if you want to reach this goal, it means that it is really your goal. If you feel something bad in your body, if you feel bad, you just need to throw this dream away. Maybe your parents will cry, but the most important is that you feel happy. I can quote my examples. My friends or my clients often say, Lena, you need to found your own psychological center. You need to write a book. You have so many interesting stories. Lena, you need to start a blog. And it seems that all of these ideas are excellent. Why not? But when I try on this idea and I feel scared, because it seems that if I do that, I do something which I don't like, or I lack efforts to do what I really like. For example, take this idea of a center. I wake up and I try to understand what my daily day will look like. And I think, but what will happen? I really like working with people, but would I have time to do that? Because I would become a manager. So it doesn't matter what other people say. The most important is what my body says. So we throw away all the dreams that other people impose upon us. And another important aspect, we need to say to what is left, it is possible, we can do it, you can do it. And just listen to your body. Just listen how your body reacts to this word. You can do it, I will let you do it. And I suggest that you write these words. You can do it. But don't write it on your fridge, for example. I had a client who wrote these words because she had problems with. She was overweight and she came to me, but I explained to her that I didn't explain to her that you don't need to put this word on the fridge, and she did just that. We let us do that. We let us dream. We allow us to dream. So we have a limited list of wishes and desires, and we allow them. And we put all our energy into implementing this. And now let's discuss the word need. This word we need. How do you think? Does this word contain a lot of things that you really need to do? Who needs that? Do you need that? So let me suggest you to do the same. Imagine the world need, and imagine 3 boxes, red, yellow, and green. Let's put into the red one those needs that you really need to do, that you need to do, and these things are quite urgent. Now we put into the yellow box things that you'd rather need to do, and the time is not limited. As for the green box, so this is what you would do. For example, if you agreed to help your friends because you wanted to be good, or you wanted to do something instead of your children, and you actually harm them because you want to do something instead of them. So the number of those things that we need to limit it, and we say yes to those things that we want to do. In such a way, we try to save our energy. We manage to save our energy. We try to protect ourselves from burnout. Okay, how much time is left? Okay, I still have time. Okay, what's next? This is a wrong system of values.
This might sound funny, but I like it actually. So, the birdie and the pile, like it makes, okay? This is the law of the birdie and its pile. So, What does it mean? That means that we need to take care of what we are feeling, of the state we're in, and then we will take care of that pile. So first we feed the bird, so that it feels loved, and so the pile it makes then is going to be beautiful. Because if you squeeze it like that, I mean, if you squeeze everything out of her, and then you hope that something good will come out, if you wring it out, it just doesn't work that way. First, we need to take care of ourselves. And then the rest will follow, nice and easy. But if you always just follow and do what you need or have to do, it just doesn't work. So you need to make sure that you do something because you want to do it and not because you have to or need to. Imagine this exhausted mom. She wakes up and she goes like, oh gosh, I have to go feed those troglodytes. They need breakfast. I mean, I feel really sorry for the interpreters. At this point, I hope they're doing okay. So anyway, and then there's this mom who's well rested, full of energy, feeling great. So she wakes up and says, wow, it is so great that I can now make this fantastic breakfast for my husband and my kids. A whole different story, you know, that angry, hateful lady, or this person who looks at the children they're supposed to love, or imagine those employees who have to do something but they hate their job and everything pisses them off. This is also, by the way, a sign of burnout. But you can avoid that. It doesn't have to be this way. You can love your children, you can love your job, that can be just great. It is possible because when we burn out, we begin to hate what we actually care about. And if this inner vessel is full of energy, then we're doing great. My next example, this next model or tool is called pyramid. I might have mentioned this last time, but it means that the first place is always yours. I mean, you rank first. Then goes someone you love, then your children, I mean your partner, then your children, your parents, your pet. But number one is you. I know that you might be thinking, oh my God, I mean, I was taught differently because I am a mother. And that's understandable. But once again, back to that vessel that each of us has inside. If it is full of strength, love, joy, confidence, some kind of beauty, courage, this is where you can share with your friends and family. But if there's desperation, a lack of confidence, lack of faith, lack of self-worth, this is what you're going to be sharing because you cannot share what you don't have. At best, you will give nothing because you are a Sahara desert on the inside. So it is our right and our obligation to fill that internal vessel. This is your first priority. There's this joke that I tell every time, and I'm a lousy joke teller, especially imitating Jewish accent, but it is a joke about a Jewish mom. So here goes. Imagine this poor Jewish family, mom, dad, 5 children, grandma in the wheelchair, cat, dog, mouse, what have you. And so they have this normal life, they're doing okay, but then every day at a certain hour, mom would lock herself in the bedroom and would not come out for an hour. And no one was allowed to come in. But then one day, she forgot to lock the door. And the children running past just waltz into the room. And they see that their mom is lying on the bed, beauty mask on her face. She's watching Sex and the City on TV. And around her, there's chocolate wrappings. And she's in this bliss. The children are shocked. They're outraged, and they say, "Mom, I mean, how can this be? We haven't had a candy in forever, and here you are watching TV, eating chocolates." And she says, "Kids, relax. I'm making a nice mom for you." And there is this very insightful message here. If you have the resource, you can be a good wife or a good husband, a good child, a good employee. And you can make yourself to be just that. And so I have some homework for you. I give this to every client who has some signs of depression and burnout. So I ask them to do this. First of all, keep a journal where you put every day 10 things or more, the more the better, something that made you happy. It could be something small, like a cup of coffee, but that you had not like this by your computer, just poured it in. Because, by the way, if you have a meal or have a drink slowly and mindfully, you can even lose weight, as opposed to grabbing a quick lunch in front of your computer, because that way the brain just doesn't remember that you ate. This is like, a bonus track from this session. You can lose weight. Anyhow, so make a list of 10 things that you did today and that made you happy. It doesn't necessarily have to be something big. It could be a nice song that you caught on the radio. Maybe you just hugged a tree. I don't know, looked outside, but it was fun. Put it in that list. It won't take more than 5 or 10 minutes, but it works wonders. And I have experience to back that statement. Because if you cannot find something that made you happy, this is also a sign of depression. But remember, when you were a child, you knew how to be happy. So make sure to find those 10 or 15 things that were fun or made you happy. Even if it's raining on the outside and you love how the trees look after the rain. And if you drive your car and you enjoy how the wheel is turning, or you're working out and enjoying the process, things like that. And the point of this is to reformat or rewire your brain to be able to identify what makes you happy. And the second part of your homework is to make a list of some 20 activities that would recharge your battery. Like a playlist of songs that make you feel better. It could be a scent or a flavor. If it's a scent, you can carry this perfume or an essential oil with you. It could be a ritual, and I love rituals such as having a cup of tea or watching the sky or the clouds in the morning, or a candle burning, something like that. Find something that gives you joy. Next, and it is very important, our feelings. We need to accept whatever we are feeling, because we tend to divide the feelings into good and bad, such as joy, love, those are good, and then anger, frustration, disgust, things like that. Those are usually said to be bad feelings. And I love meditations, I love affirmations, the so called positive programming. But when someone, a client, is deeply depressed up to the point where they cannot smell the rose because they do not feel the scent anymore, but then they tell me, I meditate every day. This just horrifies me. I mean, this means that it's only downhill from there because whatever they do is pointless. You can meditate when you're feeling a bit down, but when you are depressed beyond smelling the rose, that might be just too late for that. So if you go to a gym, for example, and you have this nice workout session, or maybe in, your somewhere in your uh, making the landscape or improving the landscape of your summer house or your vegetable garden, you get all sweaty, but then you take a shower, you wear a nice dress, and you go and visit a friend. So this is comparable to meditation and positive programming. You first need to shower off that negative stuff, that sweat, and then you can meditate and do all those beautiful things. But don't until you take that shower, because that would be just a waste of time and waste of money. And those negative feelings, so to say, it is also something that we should appreciate and love, because this is a barometer of a sort, and this is what helps you identify those first signs. Like with your car, I mean, you don't normally wait until it stops. You fill the tank when that light comes on. You do maintenance before it breaks down, but somehow we do just the opposite to ourselves. Because when some of the clients come in, I just see right away that they need that very serious interventions are needed. I mean, couples come in, women come in to go through a divorce and they need assistance. And this is what I do because this is my job. But when you feel this kind of physical discomfort, try to listen closely and to see what kind of fuel your body is needing at the moment. And if it's something negative, do not shut them down. Those are here to help you. Because otherwise, when you wake up in the morning, at some point you could just feel that you just don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to go to work. Like, I wish I forget, everyone forgets I exist. I wish the entire world forgets about me for a few days. Know this feeling? Just to be left alone and have some rest. So have that rest instead of pouring coffee down your throat and then going to work because you have to. And then there's this networking, your peers, your environment, the culture. I'm not sure about Europe, but in Russia, there is this culture of celebrating the pain of being a martyr who suffers because something might come out of it, as that proverb goes. I mean, who ever thought of that? I mean, or if you want too much, you will get very little, or you can want whatever you want. I mean, sayings like that, phrases like that, they are part of our life. And so wanting something or having something can be frowned upon. But if you burn out in the workplace, you are a martyr, and everyone will say, what a saint. I mean, do or die. slogan like that. I'm a very visual person, but I mean, why? Whoever would possibly want me to die unless I do stuff? So celebrate your good feelings, enjoy them, and follow them. And if it's something negative, ask yourself, why am I feeling this? Is there something I can do? Is there something that I can do to adjust? If not, go see a specialist. And you can find one now almost in every city and in every town, and they will be happy to help. These days, somehow we tend to focus, and I mean society and everyone, we tend to focus on perfection and independence, on doing things on our own. I don't mean to go back to communities and tribes, but when we were a tribe, it had some benefits because it was okay to be part of something bigger. And these days, somehow, if you cannot do something, this means you're weak. So you have to do your best to conceal that. So women have independence now, and it is great. And if we remember the pendulum principle, we understand that there's going to be a swing in the opposite direction, because in the past we weren't allowed to do things, and now we have to prove that we can do more and better, and we can manage things on our own. And it is true, but it does impact our psyche, our mind, and if you manage to negotiate and divide this responsibility, it works great. I'm not sure if it is possible in your workplace every time, and sometimes it's not, hence the burnout. But if you are a boss to someone, remember the birdie and the pile principle, the vessel principle. Remember that none of us is perfect, and just let yourself be and let others be just the way they are. Like, this is how I write my notes. I mean, I use a notepad, and Leonid tells me every time that I have to type it and send it to the cloud. And here for UTIC, I just did some notes real quick, made them, and then I just lost my notepad, so I had to do this thing all over again. But this is just the way I do it. This is what I enjoy. And I tell myself, it's okay. You can do it. It is possible. So it's okay. It's okay. It's possible.
I'm a therapist, though the situation is different. All those who watch us online, take a deep breath so you can fully understand this thought. And I will also tell you, you can do it. You can be whatever you are, because this is what what is needed. Nobody likes perfect people, because it is very difficult to live near perfect people, because you have a negative impact on other people. So be the way you are. Okay, what else? I would like to tell you about one more thing. It is related to things where we lose our energy. We don't celebrate much our achievements. Take a look at your way towards a goal. First, we set a goal, if this is something which is important to you. Then we draft a plan. How do we reach that goal? Then we do something. We do something to reach that goal. So imagine you do this, and what next? What's next? Usually next, we choose another goal, we set another goal, and we continue the same path towards this goal. And what we need to do is to celebrate, because celebration gives us a lot of energy. It would be much better if you celebrate before you reach your goal. Well, it doesn't mean that you will say, okay, I managed everything, I reached all my goals, and now I can celebrate. But when you start something, you shall have this ritual, this tradition to celebrate, because this is what gives us energy. This is what fulfills us with energy. If we celebrate, if we have these small victories, if we celebrate as a group, you do something, you achieve something, and then you have a symbolic celebration. It's not necessarily to have a banquet. It shall be just a small ritual which fulfills you with energy. When I have children, groups of children, I have groups for children who are quite indecisive, who are quite shy, and we have tables like this. We ask every child to stand on this table, and we give them a round of applause, and we cry out, "Bravo, bravo, you are the best!" Just for the sake of it. And you shall see how these children behave. They are filled with energy, they start smiling, they change completely. At first they say, "Did I do something good?" And then they just enjoy. And we are not worse than them. We shall do something like that. So give yourself a pat on the back, praise yourself, say that you are the best, celebrate your victories. And probably last but not least, I don't know if all of you knows what is secondary benefit. For example, if somebody is sick, something bad happens to a person. For example, a person is sick all the time and doesn't get well. It means that there is some kind of benefit to being sick all the time. And burnout is exactly a thing that has this secondary benefit. Because it's unpleasant to feel burnout, but it's comfortable. Because you can complain, you can say, "Oh, I feel so bad, I don't want to do anything, I won't go anywhere." If you take into account our social atmosphere, that it might be prestigious to be unhappy, then probably it is also good to be burned out. Why don't you feel burnout? Maybe you don't work hard enough. And I burned out, I'm good. So, but of course, these people shall not be praised, shall not be given pat on the back. We need to help them. Ask yourself a question: if you are burned out, is there a secondary benefit to that? Because if there is, then until you understand that you don't need that, you will hold on to dear life to this burnout. Because sometimes it is beneficial, it is actually comfortable to be sick rather than to be healthy. But let's choose health for ourselves. Because if you take a look at it as an outsider, then of course it is better to be healthy, to be full of energy, to be rich, to have your own goals and dreams. If your dreams, if you have a lot of dreams, of course it is better. So I wish you all the best. I wish you good health. And if something goes wrong, try to see an opportunity, a source to become even better. Thank you so much, Elena.